Falcons fans. And let me tell you something right now, if you're not sitting down, you better grab a chair because what I'm about to drop on you is massive. We're talking franchise-altering, season-defining, the kind of stuff that separates playoff pretenders from championship contenders. And here's the thing that nobody is talking about right now. While everyone's been sleeping on Atlanta, while the so-called experts have been questioning this team, doubting our depth, wondering if we have what it takes, the front office has been cooking up something special behind the scenes. I'm talking trades. I'm talking upgrades. I'm talking about moves that are about to shake up the entire NFC South. And trust me, what I've got for you today, this is the kind of information that's going to have you hyped for what's coming next. But before we dive into the nuclear bombs I'm about to drop, let me ask you this. Have you been paying attention to what's been happening in our receiver room? Have you noticed the whispers, the questions, the concerns that have been bubbling up during this bye week? Because that's where this story starts, and man, does it get interesting from there. So here's what I need you to do right now, and I mean this second. Smash that subscribe button like you're Drake London catching a game-winning touchdown. Hit that notification bell so hard it wakes up every Saints fan in Louisiana. And drop a like if you're ready to see this team make a real championship push. Because what I'm about to reveal is going to blow your mind, and you do not want to miss what comes next. Only 1% of you watching are actually subscribed. Let's explode that number right now. Let's show the NFL world that Falcons Nation is awake and ready. See, here's what the casual fans don't understand. They see one position group struggling, and they panic. They see numbers that aren't popping off the screen, and they think the sky is falling. But you know what the real Falcons faithful understand? We understand that this organization is always thinking 3 steps ahead. And that's exactly what's happening right now. While everyone's been focused on the surface level stats, asking the wrong questions, worrying about the wrong things, Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris have been in the war room, strategizing, planning, getting ready to make moves that are going to have the rest of the league saying, wait, Atlanta did what? So buckle up, because we're about to break down everything, the receiver controversy that's got everyone talking, the defensive concerns that could derail our season, and most importantly, the potential trades that could transform this team from good to unstoppable. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, the wide receiver depth. And I gotta tell you, the mailbag questions that came in during the bye week? Unanimous. Everyone wants to know the same thing. What's going on with our receivers? Darnell Mooney. 7 catches, 79 yards, 0 touchdowns since week 2. That's pedestrian, folks. That's not what we signed up for when we brought him in to be our explosive deep threat. And naturally, what happens? The fan base starts spiraling, talking about trades, throwing around names like Jacoby Myers, suggesting we blow everything up. But here's where I need you to pump the brakes for a second. Because Tori McElhaney from the Falcons beat just dropped some truth that everyone needs to hear. Mooney missed all of training camp with that shoulder injury. Let me repeat that, all of training camp. You think you can just waltz into week 2 and immediately develop chemistry with your quarterback? You think the timing, the route running, the trust, you think that just magically appears overnight? And let's talk about Ray McCloud while we're at it. 6 receptions, 14 targets, 64 yards through 4 games. People are worried, asking where's Ray? Why isn't he producing? But check this out, in the final 3 games of last season with Michael Penix Jr., McCloud had 8 catches on 12 targets for 98 yards. His current pace? Almost identical. The difference isn't Ray. The difference is that the entire passing game has been subpar in 3 out of 4 games. Now, here's where this gets juicy, and this is what separates the diehards from the fair-weather fans. Because while everyone's been obsessing over Mooney and McCloud, asking if we need to make panic trades, they're missing the real story. Week 4 against Washington, that's what this offense looks like when it's firing on all cylinders. Drake London goes for over 100 receiving yards. You know who else went for over 100 receiving yards? Bijan Robinson. And Kyle Pitts added 70 on top of that. This is the offense we've been waiting for. This is the explosive, dynamic, unstoppable attack that we knew was coming. And you're worried about receiver depth? When we just had 3 guys eating like that? Let me hit you with some perspective that's going to blow your mind. Bijan Robinson is the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Month for September. He leads all players with 584 scrimmage yards through 4 weeks. He's forced 24 missed tackles and is arguably the most elusive player in the entire league right now. So when people ask, do we need to trade for a receiver to take pressure off Bijan? I'm asking you, does pressure need to be taken off a guy who's producing diamonds? Does pressure need to be taken off the guy who IS the offense right now? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I get it. I understand the concern. You want Mooney to be the guy we thought we were getting. You want Ray making those explosive plays. And guess what? They're coming. The bye week couldn't have come at a better time. This is the opportunity for Penix and the receivers to build that chemistry, to get on the same page, to fine-tune the timing that's going to unlock this offense for the rest of the season. Think about it, Penix is heating up. The Washington game showed us what's possible. The deep shots are starting to connect. The chunk plays are coming back. And when that happens, when this offense really starts rolling, Mooney and McLeod are going to see their targets and production skyrocket. This is where championship teams are built, folks. Not in the panic trades and desperate moves, but in the patience and trust in your players, in your system, in your vision. Now, while everyone's been focused on receivers, there's a much bigger concern that should have your attention. And this one? This one's real, and it could legitimately derail our season if we don't address it. The secondary. Our defensive backfield. And specifically, what happens when A.J. Terrell is on the sideline? Listen, our defense ranks first in the NFL in total defense, 244 yards allowed per game. We're 15th in scoring defense at 21.5 points per game. Those are elite numbers. But here's the problem: when Terrell went down with that hamstring injury, the cracks started showing. D. Alford got exposed in Week 4 against Washington for receptions allowed on 5 targets, 2 penalties. And his PFF grade? He's ranked 160th out of 169 eligible cornerbacks. That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. And Mike Hughes, who's supposed to be our number 1 corner with Terrell out, he hasn't been much better. We're talking about a secondary that's gone from shaky to flat out concerning. This is where things get spicy, because the trade deadline is November 4th, and Garrett Klaus from Blogging Dirty just dropped a report suggesting the Falcons are going to be aggressive in addressing this cornerback situation. And he's not talking about minor moves. He's talking about targeting legitimate difference makers. We're talking about guys who can come in and transform this secondary overnight. The names being thrown around? Alani Taylor from the Saints. Imagine stealing a contributor from our division rival. Cam Taylor-Britt from the Bengals. Young, athletic, hungry. Denzel Ward from the Browns, a 4-time Pro Bowler. L'Jarius Sneed from the Titans, a 2-time Super Bowl winner with the Chiefs. Eric Stokes from the Raiders. Each one of these guys represents a clear upgrade over our current depth chart. Each one brings something different to the table. And any one of them could be the piece that takes us from playoff contender to NFC South champions. Here's what you need to understand: the margin for error in the NFC South is razor thin right now. The Buccaneers are sitting at the top, and we're right there in the mix, but we can't afford to have our secondary be the weakness that opponents exploit. The bye week is the perfect time for Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot to reassess this roster. It's the ideal moment to pick up the phone, start making calls, and figure out what it's going to take to bring in that impact corner who can lock down opposing number 1 receivers. Because let me tell you what's coming after this by the Buffalo Bills and their 3rd-ranked offense. You think our secondary as currently constructed can handle that? You think D. Alford rating 160th out of 169 corners is going to cut it against elite competition? This isn't a minor issue anymore. This is the issue that's standing between playoff contender and missed opportunity. The clock is ticking, and the front office knows it. Now, there's some good news on the horizon. A.J. Terrell is targeting a return after the bye. Having our lockdown cornerback would be massive for this defense. It changes everything about how opposing offenses have to approach us. But here's the reality check: even with Terrell back, do we have enough depth? We've got rookies Billy Bowman Jr. and Xavier Woods who are still adjusting to life in the NFL. They've got potential, they've got talent, but can we rely on them in crucial playoff moments? That's the question Fontenot has to answer. And based on the rumblings coming out of Flowery Branch, based on the reports about them evaluating the trade market, it sounds like they're not comfortable rolling with what we've got. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. Because this is what separates championship organizations from pretenders. The Falcons are not panicking about the receiver situation because they understand it's a chemistry and timing issue that will resolve itself. They're patient there because they can afford to be. The weapons are in place, the talent is there, it just needs time to gel. But on defense, in the secondary, they recognize that's a critical need that requires immediate action. That's the kind of strategic thinking that wins championships. You don't make desperation moves where they're not needed, but you also don't sit on your hands when there's a legitimate hole in your roster that could cost you games. So here's what I need from you, Falcons Nation. Keep your eyes on that trade wire between now and November 4th. Pay attention to the quarterback market. Because when that move happens, and I believe it will happen, you're going to want to be first to know. This team is building something special. The offense has the pieces to be elite. The defense ranks first in the league in total yards allowed. We just need that one more piece in the secondary to put it all together. The NFC South is OURS for the taking. The playoff picture is right there in front of us. And with the right moves, with the right additions, this team can make some noise in January. So stay locked in, stay hyped, and get ready for what's about to be an incredible second half of the season. This is our time, this is our moment, and we are about to show the entire NFL what the Atlanta Falcons are really made of. Go Falcons!